Hello, welcome to the Q. This is Global War 1985, and this is Scenario Zero. And what it basically is get you into the game, type of mini game, a little makeshift tutorial. 5 rounds. At the end of 5 rounds, you start rolling the dice to see if the game ends, and it ends automatically at 8. So what is that? 5, 6, 7? No, 7. Automatically ends at 7. So it's a quick game. It's just between the Soviets and the U.S., and it's, like I said, it's fictitiously here in South America. Um, the land zones are South America, the Falkland Islands, and Panama. Those are the only legal land zones, and the legal sea zones are just the sea zones that surround South America. So it keeps it very tight, very simple. You don't have all the rules. We've got this detailed sequence of play, which I suggest you print off. Now this is the 2-page one, and let me grab the 1 page and see if you can see the difference there on the wording. I can't read that 1 page. It's so small. But that's me. I'm older. So you don't have all the phases. So I've kind of marked which ones we'll go through. Interesting one here, the global operations phase. Insurgency, counterinsurgency, diplomacy. That's a really neat thing about this game. Purchase units, everyone does that. Combat, everyone does that. Resolution, non-combat, and then the end of the turn. And there's a couple different things in there, but these sheets will really help you stay on track because there's a lot going on here in this game. For the setup, since it's just like a tutorial, there are no tech rolls, but they do start you out with some completed tech. Both sides have advanced sonar. Both sides have stage 1 of chemical warfare. And what's unique about that is for each stage you complete of chemical warfare is the amount of chemical attacks you can make per turn. So they're both locked in at 1, so they'll each have the ability to make 1 chemical attack per turn. So like in a regular game, you're 2 or 3, stages. If you only want 3, chems, then that's, you could stop there, but there's a bonus for getting the 4 chems. I think there's a defensive bonus if you complete the tech, but you could go 1 or 2 if that's only your goal initially, is to have 1 or 2 chemical attacks, and they can only take place through these artillery pieces. So you have to have the artillery in order to do the chem attacks. The U.S. has SEAD, which is the suppression of enemy air defenses, which I would love that in every game. If I was in Global War 36, that would be that might be my number 1 tech. Get those nasty anti-aircraft guns taken care of. The Russians, I guess the Soviets in this game, are long-range missiles, and then both sides have anti-missile defense. And that basically is, if you're under a missile attack, you do get a defensive dice roll, which is kind of cool. On the chart, or the dashboards for the Soviets, like I said, they start with 3 cruise missiles, 3 anti-ship missiles, or 2 anti-ship missiles. Now that's a bonus because the U.S. doesn't have anti to start with. You got your 1 chemical marker, your insurgent, your advisor, and these are used in the diplomacy, the insurgency, counterinsurgency, that kind of stuff. Start with $20. The U.S. starts with 20. 3 cruise missiles, but no ship missiles, and the same here. So when you look at the setup on the board, it is slightly in favor of the Russians, and they actually do go first. So there is a little bit of an advantage there. We'll see how this plays out. I've watched a couple of YouTube wars, on this scenario. That's when I thought, well, you know what, I'm gonna give that a try. I just recently finished gathering all my units and painting them. Probably next winter I'll actually do some decals and customization, but through the summer that kind of stuff goes away. So um, that's a look at your setup on land. I did want to go over some of the facilities here and set this down. If you look here, there are really 6 kinds of different facilities because this territory starts with a minor shipyard, a minor uh, army base, and then a minor, in fact, move that, you can see it. Oh, he fell over. A minor airfield. But for this scenario, they're all moved up to majors. And what the majors do are quite interesting. The major army base is kind of like your factory for land units. Um, you can build 4 of any kind of land unit at a major. There is a minor army bases around the board, and you can build 2 land units of a specific type. And I don't have that memorized off the top of my head, but it's like infantry, a main battle tank, um, and I think mechs. Um, the airfields is where you build your aircraft, helicopters, that kind of thing. So that's kind of interesting. You don't have to take up factory space for your aircraft. They're built at the air bases, and then shipyards are like what you would think in Global 36. That's where you would build your ships. Now, in addition to that, the shipyard actually produces 1 anti-ship missile per turn, and the major army base produces 1 cruise missile per turn, and that's free of charge. So the more of those you have, the more missiles you get to use on the following turn. And of course, the major shipyards and ports give a +1 to movement. The army bases give a +1. It's called strategic land movement. So like the tank and artillery, they can move 2. If there's that base there, they can move 3. So it's kind of a neat little addition. One other thing that's a little different is how you can non-com some of your units. And there are major shipyards, major ports, minor shipyards, and the same, minor ports as well. And there's a mechanic called sea lift. So say we're here in this zone here, and we wanted to move up to, well, there's no port there. Well, let's just say there was a major port up here in French Guiana. You could take your limit, which for this scenario is 3 sea lift moves per turn. So you could take 3 units, say 2 mech and the artillery, and they would sea lift, 1, 2, 3, because it can go 3 zones, and then you would go in if that was a major port. If it was a minor port like this one, you could only receive 1. The other 2 could still be there. They would just be out in the ocean and susceptible to attack. So you would want to make sure that any sea lift units out in the ocean are either guarded by ships or there's no enemy in range. So the beauty there is you don't need transports. I would love that mechanic in Global War 36. The ability to either move transports or land units to the ports, in the same fashion. That would be huge. I would love to playtest that scenario. I mean, Italy, if you're familiar with Global War 36, Italy doesn't start with a transport. So you got to buy a transport and waste all that money. Well, if you could sea lift without a transport, you could move units to Africa without the waste of the $7. Now, the advantage there too is I think I would still keep the transports, have the ability to use the strategic naval movement as well. So if you had 3, you could move 2 land units, and then you had a transport somewhere else on the map you wanted to get back to, like say the United States. You could strategically naval move it back. I digress. That's not this game, but that's just one of the amazing things that I really like about this game is that mechanic that I'd like to bring backwards in time. Um, there's a airlift, so you can airlift from airbase to airbase, which I don't see one. Do I have another airbase? Well, let's see. Do the Russians? They have an airbase here. They do have a minor airbase here. Um, so in setting up this game, I thought I had all the markers I need. I don't have a minor airbase marker, so I'll have to order that. So you could airlift two infantry class units, 3 spaces. So, well, it's only 2 away, but they can't get there normally. So you could airlift up here to Peru. So that's airlift, sea lift. Those are kind of cool mechanics, and you don't need a air transport plane to do it. I love that mechanic as well. Um, like I told you about the strategic land movement. It's basically adding +1 to your land movement, just like the shipyards is +1 to your sea movement. So that's kind of that. I don't know what else to go over for this scenario. I do like these battle boards, and I've mentioned that before, with the amount of different missiles and tactics and attacks, chemical attacks and nuclear attacks and first strikes. These are huge in helping you do your battles of any size. I mean, certainly the 2-on-1 battle you don't need a battle board for, but so this is going to be scenario 0, and that's how I'll make a playlist and I'll title it that way. And we'll start off with the Soviet turn 1 here shortly, maybe this evening. And I'm going to try and knock out this weekend all of the turns for this game, and then just kind of upload them through the next 2 weeks. So that's my goal anyway, just to get this game going and have you take a look and see at some of the mechanics of this game. The only drawback that I've found so far is it's taken me so long to get all the pieces, what I needed, painted. I've marked them, I guess you call it like tipped in fashion that is reasonable to my game, the way I play. And similar to Global 36. So I don't want to learn a whole new set of tipping colors and stuff. So that's why these are looking different. So the white, being airborne, the red being the paramilitary, which is the equivalent of a militia. So I kept it in that fashion. My destroyers are black, just like in Global War. I did have to mark the attack bombers with the black because the different, there's a huge amount of different aircraft in this game, like the fighter, the attack bomber. Here's an air superiority fighter, you can see with the red tipping. And they have different functions throughout the game, and you'll see that as we go. So stay tuned for the first turn. I imagine it will drop tonight, and then I might just drop 1 turn a day until this game is completed. Like I said, I'm going to do it all at once. So if I make an error, there's no going back and fixing it. It just is what it is. So thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing how this game turns out.